Hello. This is Benjamin Boyce, minus a tooth. So there's this account that's doing very, very well on the Twitter, and it's called Libs of TikTok. And again, it's doing really, really well. It's mostly, as you would imagine, 90-second to 2-minute videos of various far left progressive breakdowns on a variety of issues. Well, the same old issues that we all cover, we all know about. And it's run by somebody who I'm sure is really smart. I would like to have them on my channel. We can chat. We have a probably really good chat. And I'm sure that we agree with each other on a lot of issues. But my contention with this accountant, they blocked me and I blocked them and et cetera, et cetera. This is not a drama issue at all. This is just me trying to express a particular thought that I have about the anti-woke movement. So Libs of TikTok will play these videos or post these videos, very cleverly selected for maximum outrage factor. And then they will be shared by everyone that I follow on Twitter. Very well marketed. This is a marketing genius, whoever's doing this. And the thing is that what I see a pattern of, there's a pattern of several things going on. There is basically the young woke people and then the professional woke people, probably another category, but those are the two ones I'll talk about now. And what I was seeing a whole lot of, and I began to participate in this, but then I got really tired of it because everybody was sharing the same video every single day whenever a new video is released. Again, perfect marketing or perfect playing of this Twitter game. But what I saw a lot of was people taking these clips of these wayward, probably very lonely, bullying-ish youths with probably you can assign them some sort of personality disorder if that's your thing, but it doesn't really matter because they're just acting like fools. And then you have a bunch of adults who are on the good side of the game who think of themselves as above being on the right side of history, ridiculing and bullying by the thousands these teenagers. And like, this isn't really helping the teenagers who are acting this way or policing each other's pronouns and going off into these weird, screeds about sexuality or race or whatever. That stuff is real. It's a part of our society. It's not good. It's actually really destructive to our society, and it infects businesses and corporations and schools across the land and brings them down. But focusing our ridicule on these 17-year-olds comes off to me as some sort of pornography. People are getting off on looking down on these teens. Now, if there's a woke teacher that's teaching, Antifa or something like that to their class or teaching them that we need to start up Mao's revolution all over again or something like that, that's a different matter. If an adult is using their position of authority to indoctrinate kids and then posting that onto TikTok, sure, let's go after them. But here's the other issue. These little 15-minute clips, these little 90-second clips, these 2-minute clips that go around are conditioning the so-called anti-woke movement to have a specific response to a specific phenomena. What's going to happen over time is that people are going to see, well, I don't really care. I don't really have self-respect or anything. I can hoax these anti-wokesters by staging this woke meltdown. And then there will be as many woke hoaxes as there were anti-hate hoaxes that pop up every now and then and have since critical social justice ideology has become predominant within the elite institutions. Those hate hoaxes play on the weakness of this ideology by scrawling a swastika in poop on a wall and then melting down an entire school. That's an incredible amount of power. And when people are conditioning themselves en masse as a group to respond to a certain stimulus, that stimulus will have power over them. People aren't really being critical when they look at these 90-second videos that are missing context because they're only 90 seconds and then proclaiming their righteous indignation of this racist behavior, this sexist behavior, this gender woo behavior. And I do that too. I got my start by the retarded antics of a bunch of justice-drunk woke warriors. That's where I came from, right? I came from Evergreen. You wouldn't know me, and I wouldn't know you, insofar as I know you, without the Evergreen students acting in the way they did, which is the same exact behavior that you see through this account, Libs of TikTok. And again, he's doing great. He's doing really great work. My contention is with the people who are just ingesting that work and then allowing themselves to be conditioned by that work to uncritically respond negatively to that. It's a moral war. You know what morality does? It binds and blinds. It binds people together as a group, and then it blinds them to other interpretations. Now, I called libs of TikTok pornography for people who like to look down on wayward youth, and they blocked me. And then, I thought, okay, they blocked me. I don't have to see their videos anymore. But their videos were constantly being shared by everybody. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to, and I said that you can block libs of TikTok, or you can get libs of TikTok to block you, but you can't block them from your timeline. That's asymmetrical AF. And then they posted that tweet thinking that they'd won against me. They don't even know why they blocked me. They thought I was harassing their followers. Their followers and mine probably have a huge overlap, as I've been saying. So, no, I'm not a harasser, and I'm not harassing their people anyways. But, he used that tweet as some sort of proclamation of his power, that he is dominating Twitter. I have no problem with him dominating Twitter. I have no issue with him. And if he sees this, and he cares to, we'll have him on. We'll scrub his identity because he's hiding behind an anonymous account, and he loses a little bit of respect in my book for being anonymous. You should put yourself out there and stand behind your beliefs. That is the courageous thing to do, not mocking 17-year-olds who are caught up in this gender bullshit. Anyway, so they went after me, and then now everybody's hating on me because his audience, who doesn't know me, thinks I'm some sort of woke warrior or woke apologist. I'm actually trying to criticize the anti-woke, and this is the problem. It's the problem with feminism. This is the problem with wokeness. This is the problem with critical race theory. This is the problem with every single activist group. They get a bunch of morality that binds them all together and then filters their world for them. It literally filters the world for them, so they don't have to filter the world themselves. And then when anybody questions that and says, here, let's think a little bit about what's going on, that person's ridiculed and cast out of the group. And what happens over time? The group becomes dumber and dumber and dumber because it can't resist, or it can't handle anybody resisting the morality that is thinking for them. Now, last thought. Like I said, I got my audience based on Evergreen, right? Based on those students. And if it weren't for those students, nobody would care about Evergreen whatsoever. I tried to do the best I could to take those students' behavior and all that footage and put it into context and see how it's related to something deeper. I went from analyzing that behavior and showing that behavior and trying to ingratiate or inculcate into the people who are paying attention to that behavior, understanding of where that behavior comes from. And not just the behavior of the students, but the behavior of the adults that are allowing the students to act that way, and in some certain respect, teaching them to act that way. There's bigger issues at play here. Yes, racism is bad. Yes, reverse racism is bad. Yes, white men getting yelled at for having a Cops Lives Matter sticker is not necessarily the best thing for our society. But yelling about that on Twitter isn't going to change anything, especially if you are only doing that. And if you don't really understand that there's a lot of lower, deeper levels to that. Now, the surface is the surface, and people are always racing to the surface. It's not a race to the bottom, it's a race to the surface. It's a race to the shallowest part of attention because that's where the most attention is. And that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the game. The tide turns by swelling together. We need to operate not necessarily as individuals in every instance, but as groups in order to affect widespread cultural change. And so there will have to be a dumbing down of analysis in order for that to take effect and to galvanize the so-called base. But if all you're doing is floating on that surface, if all you're doing is mocking and renunciating people and not actually doing the work of trying to change those people's minds, then you are just circling the wagons. There's just more and more circling of the wagons, and casting anybody out who questions that circling, who tries to refine that morality, who tries to provide some sort of counterpoint to the group's decision on what some phenomena means. And then every individual in that group is selected for not thinking critically anymore. The anti-woke will be nothing more than the mirror of the woke in the long run. And then it'll just be overrun by people of a more extreme demeanor. That's the tendency of this stuff. So I resist that. And, you're going to get a little flack for resisting that. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm not for these racist incidents. I'm not for this gender ideology. You know that. I know that. I think that the real work is having real conversations. And those flashpoints are necessary for getting people to talk, to bringing attention to that. But if the attention only rests there, we won't get anything solved. We'll just end up feeling good for all thinking the same way. That's my contention. This is Benjamin Boyce. I'm going to take a codeine because I believe I deserve that. Talk to you soon. Oh, jeez. What are you going to do?